We haven't actually thought we'd be reviewing a Vaio laptop since it's a brand of the past with nothing new to offer. Or is it? Vaio wants you to pony up Apple levels of money for a Windows PC. While the lower-end Core i5 configuration is decently priced for what you're getting, our high-end Core i7 configuration doesn't offer much to justify its price. The Vaio's design is undeniably attractive. It blends minimalist professionalism with enough flair to stop it being simply another metal slab. This is particularly evident in the number of color options on offer, which include not only the traditional black and silver, but also bronze and red, offering a pleasant change from the usual fare while still maintaining a level of sophistication. Despite the brushed aluminum effect that's used on the laptop's lid, chassis, and keyboard surround, however, the laptop does not feel as rigid as competitors like the XPS13 or MacBook Pro. The main bulk of the laptop is constructed from plastic, and although the company claims that it uses strategic reinforcing rib placements to strengthen the construction, the device still felt a touch too flimsy and flexible for our liking, especially when pitted against Dell and Apple's rivals. The phrase "made in Japan" still carries a certain gravitas in some circles and for some people. If you are a Japanophile, it used to be that you could get notebooks made in Japan from Toshiba, NEC, Fujitsu, and Vaio when it was still part of Sony. Now they are all gone from retail, they still exist for corporate purchase needs, and only Vaio remains accessible to consumers. To be clear, not all Vaio notebooks are made in Japan. Honestly, just by touch alone, I couldn't tell that the SX14 and A12 were made in Japan notebooks and the SE14 wasn't. That actually says a lot about the quality of the SE14. But this Made in Japan label is one of the SX14's highlights, especially if you love all things Japanese. The Vaio SX14 is also a 14-inch notebook, but it has a lighter and slightly thinner body. The chassis is a blend of carbon fiber and magnesium alloy, similar to the ultralight LG Gram, and only weighs 1 kilogram. It measures about 17.8 millimeters thick. Like the SE14, the SX14 also comes with a good assortment of ports. The SX14 will be available in black, silver, and brown. The SX14's 14-inch display can be in either Full HD or 4K resolution. And inside, it is powered by the latest 8th generation Intel Whiskey Lake processors. Like the SE14, the SX14 has a rich selection of ports which negates the use of dongles. There's a single USB-C port that supports USB 3.1 Gen 1, 3 full-size USB-A ports, a gigabit Ethernet LAN port, an HDMI port, and curiously, even a VGA port. There's also a full-sized SD card reader. The only glaring omission is support for Thunderbolt 3. Even so, and as I said earlier, it's unlikely you will ever need to hunt for a dongle with the SX14. The Vaio carries a 14-inch IPS display with an anti-reflective matte coating on it, available with either a 1080p or 4K resolution. As usual, we'd recommend avoiding the 4K option. It'll suck up a huge amount of battery power for not much benefit and adds unnecessarily to the price. Instead, opt for the 1080p model, which is what we've got on test here, and put the extra cash towards an external monitor if display quality is that important to you. That's definitely going to be necessary for any graphics professionals. According to our tests, the screen covers just 86% of the sRGB color gamut, which, while not terrible, isn't up to the standards of other professional laptops in this price bracket and isn't really good enough for professional editing. Reds and yellows in particular are rather oversaturated. You might struggle to make out the screen in particularly brightly lit environments, although the average office or home shouldn't present a problem. Where the Vaio's business credentials really shine through is in its allocation of ports. These days, most business laptops make do with a couple of USB Type-C ports, possibly a full-sized USB Type-A port, and one for HDMI if you're really lucky. The Vaio, by contrast, has a total of 3 full-size USB ports, a USB-C port supporting power and display, and full-sized HDMI port. Not only that, but there's also full-sized SD card reader, an Ethernet port, and even a VGA input. Short of an old-school serial or PS2 port, we're struggling to think of a connection type this laptop doesn't support. Performance is as good as you'd expect from a current-gen laptop running a top-end Intel Core i7 8565U processor with 16 gigs of RAM. An overall score of 97 in our benchmark tests puts it just ahead of the Dell XPS 13 and is almost 25% better than Microsoft's Surface Book 2. That's partly due to cooling. Rather than going for a fanless design in order to achieve a slimmer build, the Vaio has large fans and air vents to ensure that the components can perform at their optimal level. Sadly, those components don't include a dedicated GPU, which is another limit to its usefulness as a design tool. Sadly, with a battery life of just 6 hours and 3 minutes, the Vaio falls short of what we consider acceptable and won't make it through a full workday without either a quick top-up or extremely judicious power management. That's on the 1080p version too. The 4K model only managed to last a paltry 3.5 hours, effectively making it useless as a business device. This is disappointing. Usually when battery life is as lackluster as this, it's compensated for by increased performance. In this case, there's no such luck. The sole consolation is the fact that the power brick is small enough that carrying it around isn't an issue. You could also charge it via the USB-C port if necessary.